Hello and welcome to today's session. I hope you're all doing amazingly well from whichever part of the world you are watching. We can see spring's here officially, and finally, we're seeing the end to that rainy season we've had here in Madrid, which makes training for the marathon just that much more bearable. Um, Today, I mean, for those of you who are watching me for the first time, I know I've been receiving quite a few DMs, so thank you very much. Many of you asking me, who are you? What exactly are you doing? So if you're watching me for the first time, I'm Son Lubroy. I'm based in the beautiful city of Madrid, and I help boutique hotel owners and hotel wellness leaders create profitable wellness assets. And I have a 7-step essence framework that takes them from wellness idea to a profitable wellness asset. And today, what I'd like to do is continue on this series of 7 topics that I'm taking out that I hear many of you hotel spa and wellness managers tell me as I've been launching and doing all these rounds of the Wellness Asset Academy and the Asset Builder one-on-one mentorship programs. I've seen this recurring theme that I hear many, and that includes, hotel GMs and owners of boutique hotel properties. And I've kind of summarized them in this 7th series where we started off with wellness people feeling that hoteliers don't get wellness, that hoteliers only care about profitability, that what's the point, they're just going to do what they want anyway, or them believing that any kind of upskilling is the job of the company or the hotel to actually take on. And today, what I'd like to do is take that a step further and tackle what I hear often. And that is, Sonal, I really don't have any control over my department. So this is spa and wellness leaders in hotels who want to make wellness more profitable. And then, it's quite interesting to see that they genuinely believe that they do not control their department. So the irony is they've been given the leadership of an area that they're the only highest form of specialist for, but they really are not calling the shots or making the decision. At least that's what it feels like. And while this series of, podcasts and LinkedIn Lives that I've been doing, while they are targeted to hotel, spa and wellness managers and directors, it is also very useful for boutique hotel owners because this is the mindset that you will find many wellness directors come in with. And what I have noticed, like any business, wellness has its own nuances, and doing business and making it successful, like any business, has its own set of challenges. But no matter how amazing all the individual ingredients are. So you have the best ninja people, you have the best wellness facilities, you have all the funding you need, you have the right audience. If there is something holding either yourself or your team, unconsciously or consciously, from actually seeing wellness through to success, that ultimately, that mindset is going to hold your wellness offering back. And when you don't have that right mindset, the first obstacle or the first challenge you face in your wellness business will send you down that downward spiral, because we know that every business, we go through that valley of despair, we get into our river of misery, and then we do get out of it. But when we are entering our valley of despair, finally just getting into that river of misery, if you're not really clear about where you're headed, and if you've not worked through any of those mindset blocks that you might have, you or your team members, there is no way your wellness offering, or in fact any business, is going to have success. And I think we all know that. But I just wanted to reiterate that while this seventh series of really speaking to our spa and wellness managers, what they truly feel, what they truly think, really speaking to their concerns. Not only is it useful for hotel wellness leaders, but it's also incredibly useful for boutique hotel owners and GMs so that they know what is going through the minds of the wellness leaders. And then they'll be in a position to better guide them or at least meet them where they are. So today, I want to talk about, the syndrome I see very often. And I get this pushback where, Sonal, I really have no control over the wellness department. And I see this, and I have seen it being the spa director not too long ago of a hotel, and seeing the spa manager, and also seeing my clients. And this is what I notice. You walk into a finance or a strategy meeting, and you have something important to say because you know your department, you know your area. There is no one else out there who knows wellness more than you. But when you actually get into the meeting, you nod, you smile, you try to take notes down, but deep, deep down, you're thinking, I have no idea what these people are talking about. I really don't know, and I don't know how I can add value here. And what ends up happening is that you walk out of that finance strategy meeting without saying anything at all. And when you go out not having said anything or not even having even understood what was happening in the meeting, you definitely feel that you don't have control. You definitely feel that you're powerless. And if that's you, I see you and I also hear you and I feel you. And today, what I'd like to offer is help you understand the reason why you, the spa and wellness leader in a hotel, feel like you really are a bystander, right? Of your own department. You are the spectator. You are the backseat driver, whereas someone else is driving your business forward. And I also want you to know that you can change it, that you have far more control than you think. And I know right now you might be rolling your eyes and thinking, Sonal, I definitely don't see that, but I'm open to listen to you. So in order for us to actually talk about you having the control that you don't see, I think it's important to let's take a few steps back and think of, that I have no control. Where does it come from? So you feel like you're not in control because ultimately your GM is the one who makes all the big decisions and they are governed by owners. You, as a wellness leader, you don't fully understand the numbers. You were never taught how to read finance, and you were definitely not given a course on how to read a profit and loss or even create a budget. You don't know how to connect your ideas to business goals. It's like you have all these amazing ideas in your mind. It's there, but you just need help to articulate it. But you know that what you offer definitely helps your hotelier get their business goals, but you just don't know how to say it in words. And that frustration of not being able to communicate makes you either think, I have no control, makes you think, I really can't say anything because you don't know how to say it. So you start shrinking, and then you start showing up smaller than you really are. So you stay quiet in meetings. You stop pitching new ideas because you don't have the confidence. And you also second guess your team. When they come up with ideas, you kind of think, no, they're never going to understand it. You just don't understand the GM and won't understand it. The director of finance won't understand it. The director of sales and marketing will just go and do what they want. They just don't understand how product brands work. And when that happens, the result of you showing up smaller, the result of you staying quiet in meetings, the result of you not pitching your ideas, what happens is that you come across as unsure. And when you come across as unsure, others have to take over. The job needs to get done. So you either do it or someone else needs to step in and take control. So when you're not pitching ideas, when you're not solving problems, when you are not voicing your ideas, irrespective of how, not strong they sound, when you don't show up the way you're meant to, when you show up unsure, your GM has to step in. Your director of sales and marketing has to decide how wellness gets packaged. Your director of finance has to decide, okay, how can I keep this department's profitability as high as possible? And the irony of it is that you are still, technically speaking, in charge of wellness, because ultimately no one else knows about wellness the way you do. But the leadership has been taken out of your hands because you seem unsure. You have shown up unsure with that lack of confidence. And this is important to know because this isn't about your competence. It's not because you're not trying. And it's not because you don't care about wellness or your GMs or your hotelier folks don't care about wellness. The real reason is that you have not been trained in wellness. So the other way around, you have not been trained in strategy. You've been trained in wellness. You haven't been trained in business models, profit and losses, yield management. But here's the thing. Your GM and your hotelier colleagues only speak that language: strategy, business models, guest satisfaction, profit and losses. So now, this is that massive disconnect. You are talking about treatments, experiences, brands, making an impact in people's lives with your wellness offerings. And your hotelier colleagues are talking about margins, ADR, average guest spend, occupancy. Now, it doesn't mean that you both don't care about one another's goals or nuances or challenges. It's just that you're not aligned. And that is why you feel you're not in control. So it has nothing to do with you, nor does it have anything to do with your hotelier colleagues. It's just a lack of translation between your world and theirs. And here's the good news. Control isn't something you have to fight for. You don't need to wait for your GM to hand it to you. You earn that control by building alignment. You earn that control by actually claiming the game. You earn it by taking that seat of yours that you have for you in the table. And here's how you start to do that. One, speak their language. Your GM doesn't need to hear, I need a new product line. They need to hear, we're missing X number of years in potential guest spend per visit. And when you start using business language, people listen to you differently. Now, that has nothing to do with competence. Your ability to speak their language is a skill you can acquire. And you don't need to wait for your hotelier colleagues to teach it to you. You actually can go ahead and learn it. Now, I'm going to give an example of, for example, I've been in Spain now for what, 23, 24 years, and my partner, David. So every time we go to London, back to my family to visit them, yeah, it's like nearly 2 decades together, he still doesn't speak any English. So my mother, my entire family has had to learn the language, has had to learn Spanish in order to communicate with him. And I have, in turn, whenever I go to meet his family, whenever we're having family outings, it's so much fun because I made the effort to speak the language, to integrate myself. And he's always complaining that, he doesn't understand what people are saying, that I've not taught him English because, I used to teach English to just keep my business afloat. And I was like wondering, it's not up to me that you are not speaking English. It is on offer to you. And today you really do get, it's a very, very easy to learn English. So if he wants to communicate with my family, if he wants to take that a step further, that's definitely his skill. He can learn. He doesn't need to ask permission. I didn't ask anyone permission before learning Spanish. I went and learned it, made a complete idiot out of myself many times. And even today, there are days I wake up and it's just impossible. I just want to speak in English all day long instead of in Spanish. So the reason I say speak your hotel GM's language, that has nothing to do with your competence. David is fully competent to learn another language. It is something you have to go and do. Speak the language, learn it. There are clues to learning a new language. So start speaking in hotelier language and don't expect them to understand your wellness language. The only way you can integrate the smaller department into the bigger department is by actually speaking the language, understanding the nuances. Now, the second way you start to feel more in control is to understand your hotelier's goal. So, what is the goal of the hotel? How? Where do they want to head? So, don't assume you know. I am sick and tired of hearing our wellness leaders say they only care about profits and revenue. That's all they care. No, they don't. Of course, we all need to have a business that's commercially sustainable. And how do you measure commercially sustainable business? One that generates profits and not losses. That is quite basic. That said, there's always a deeper goal. There's always a bigger impact any business wants to make. So ask them, watch how they're doing things and learn. Are they focused on room rates? Are they focused on guest satisfaction? Are they focused on occupancy? What is their focus? And once you know what they care about, you can then position wellness to help achieve it. So you are the new one into the hotel. You are the one who has to learn the language, and you are the one who has to learn the rules of how things are done in this bigger picture, in this entire ecosystem. And then the third step, deliver them what they want. Simple as that. Not just what feels good or looks trendy and pretty. If your new wellness idea or initiative or whatever you want to offer helps the hotel hit its goal, you get buy-in. And once they trust your thinking, you will be given the space you need to lead. So the first step, to recap, is speak the language. You are the one coming into their hospitality world if you're the spa and wellness leader, because otherwise you can go into a standalone wellness facility and work there. But you have chosen to work in a hotel. You are the smaller business, offer a bigger business unit. So The one who needs to integrate is you. Learn the language. And two, know where they're headed. Learn the gold. I mean, where are they headed? Don't assume it. Ask them. Watch. Learn. Try. And you will fail. Like any new language, there are mistakes you make, and that's perfectly okay. You never need to be fluent in their language. You just need to understand them and then see this little gold nugget you're holding, that is wellness. How can it serve them? How can it help them get the business goals they want? It's actually that simple. And when you're the one who's adapting, when you're the one trying to solve your hotelier colleagues' problems, guess what? You inadvertently are taking control. You inadvertently are becoming that key driver, that gold thread in the entire fabric that makes that fabric be worth so much. So, my wellness leader friends, the next time you go into a meeting and you have an amazing wellness idea and you really know you can help your hotelier colleagues, just because you go in and don't understand what they're saying, don't stay quiet. Say it anyway. Because here's the thing, they do want to hear you. And you are part of that team. Your chair, that seat, and that big table is already there. Trust me. They just need you to go and take it. You to go and sit on it. And you to go in there and call the shots on what you've been hired to do. So, I hope that I have managed you see that you actually have far more control over your department than you think. And actually, can you see why? When you just make this small shift, speak the language, understand their goals, and deliver what they need. Those three simple things, if you nail that, can you see how you are taking control? Can you see how everyone else will see you in a very different way? Because you're not shrinking anymore. You're trying to speak the language. You're not showing up the way you want to. And you're showing them your golden nugget. And how that can be that golden thread throughout the entire fabric of the hotel's ecosystem that makes the hotel be worth so much. And on that inspiring and thought-provoking note, I wish you all a beautiful day ahead. Take care now.